Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on The Art and the Artist. I'm your host, LA Phil. In this episode, I got to speak with the amazing T-Willzz out of New York, an incredibly talented artist, wise beyond her years, and a genuine advocate for mental health. Have you ever met someone for the first time, and because of how real and genuine they were, you felt comfortable telling them almost anything? That's how this interview went for me. If you go onto her website, T-Willzz.com, you'll see incredible artwork and a vast array of beautiful, vibrant colors. But as you'll find out watching this interview, that wasn't always the case. As with a lot of people, things aren't always sunshine and roses. She was gracious enough to share some of her mental health journey with me, and because of the comfort level I felt during the interview, I do as well. I wanted to end this intro with a quote from her website. "My art is my chance to share all of the lifetimes, all of the lessons, and all of the loves I've met with the rest of the world. I hope my art gives you as much life as it continues to reignite into me. Every piece I make is one of my greatest achievements, one of my biggest lessons, and one of my mightiest blessings. Enjoy my colors." And with that, I present T-Willzz. All right, Miss T-Willzz, thank you so much for joining me. I want to say you've got a great website. Out of all the artist websites that I've come across, yours is absolutely one of the best. It's great.
Oh wow, thank you so much. That means so much to me. I did that all myself. So that really
Did
that
you?
really means a lot. Yes.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely great. And you got a lot going on. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot I want to ask you. So let's get right into it then. So you're based in New York right now. Were you born and raised in New York, or did you move out there?
Yes, born in Queens, raised in Mount Vernon, New York. Yep. Been here
Oh,
my
all right.
entire life.
Oh, okay, all right, New York, baby. No, I love that. I especially out here in LA, it's kind of hard to meet people that are from here, that were born and raised here. I think
Right.
that's great. Awesome.
I
All
love
right.
LA too. If I'm to go to somewhere else, it would be LA, but that's because I feel like LA is so similar to New York in so
Yeah.
many ways. So
Yeah.
it's probably why I feel like it's home out there. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, you know what I like? It's because I grew up downtown LA, which is a little different than other parts of LA, and
right.
it's so busy down there. So the first time that I had went to New York, I was already in my 30s. I was an adult at that time, and I just thought, oh, it feels familiar. You know what I mean?
Right.
It feels like something I've experienced before. But I know that the people that built downtown LA, I think they modeled it after the buildings in New York, so it makes sense.
I mean, I'm saying New York is just New York.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so digging around, looking through your website and all that,
Mhm.
you recent college grad, or how long ago did you finish college?
Yeah, so I actually graduated back in 2020.
Okay.
I didn't get to walk because I literally graduated COVID happened March
Oh,
18th.
mhm.
My graduation was May 17th, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
fantastic.
no.
That's the one thing I was looking forward to too.
Yeah,
But it's okay. It's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You still did. It's such a great accomplishment. I love talking to the artists that I'm not saying everyone has the opportunity to go to college, but I feel like, even though I don't know you, I feel like a proud parent. You know what I mean? I think it's a great accomplishment. I do.
It's so funny. I actually didn't even think that I really finished because I didn't get to walk. I feel like a lot of grads that you talk to that graduated during that time that just didn't get a chance to have
Mhm.
that final thing. A lot of
Yeah.
them are just I don't know. I don't really feel like I finished. I didn't wear my grad cap and cape and everything until months after because I just didn't
Oh,
feel like I earned it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I did. I have the degrees right here by my bed.
Yeah.
I have to be proud that I did it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So an art major, then I suspect.
So funny enough, no. I
Really?
actually graduated with biopsych with a double minor in bio and neuroscience.
Oh my
So
goodness. Great.
I'm a
Okay.
science nerd.
Yeah.
I love science. I love everything that has to do with psychology and mental health. And
Uh-huh.
that funny enough, art is kind of like my release from the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I talk about mental health a lot. Well, the idea of mental health is in some ways filtered through my art a lot.
Yeah.
I try my best to. because that's one of the things that saved my life. So, you know, I have this degree in something that's completely different from like
Yeah.
my pastime, but I feel like I can integrate it in a lot of different ways, especially like art
Oh yeah.
therapy and different things like that. So
Hmm.
it's something that I definitely talk about a lot, you know, especially being a woman of color. I feel like mental health is so important, and
Oh
there's
yeah.
not a lot of outlets that, you know, we have. And I think that art is really mine. So,
Yeah.
really, a reason why I studied that and why it's so important to me.
Oh, that's great. Oh man. So this makes a lot of sense then. When you tell me your degrees, looking through your site and looking at your art, it's yeah, there's a lot into it. The one of the things that I did notice is kind of a spacey kind of background you give, sort of like the universe behind the pictures. You know what I mean? And yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because it's very particular, and now it all makes sense with all of the side stuff. Oh, that is great. All right, so during the pandemic, then, because I know a lot of people's mental health were at risk then because we were thrown into this chaotic world that no one's ever experienced before. Did you find it harder to create during this time, or
It's
maybe having
actually
the time made it easier?
right. So it's actually really funny. This time was very interesting because um I very weird, but I ended up getting into a relationship right at the time, like the
Uh-huh.
COVID had started, and then like we ended up living together like right like during everything. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all
Um,
right.
um, so me and him we were both creatives, and he was big in photography. So I actually slid out of art a little bit and started to jump into like photography.
Okay.
Um, for a while, and because New York City was empty, I we were just driving around
Mm,
taking photos and stuff like that. And once like I really started to get like accustomed to photography, like I got a camera, and then I started to fuse photography and my art together, and then I started to use like my photography as like references, and then I really just started to have fun with it. So I would say that like I didn't necessarily like my art took a pause, but like
okay.
creativity didn't take a pause. Like I
Oh,
started to
okay.
jump into different things because it was
Yeah.
like I had time. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's kind of how I fell into this because I'm just a huge art fan. Dad's an artist. I go to the museum all the time, a lot a lot of times alone, which which I don't mind because now I've got all the time in the world. All of that downtime, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not old, I'm not getting any younger, and
Right.
it's you only get one life. So all of the insecurities of things like that I had, because I will admit, I'm not a shy person, but I am very reserved. I don't really put myself out there like that. Not that I have a problem doing it, but because of what's going on now, and I had some stuff going on in my personal life, and I figured, what the hell? Let's just go ahead. Let's go do everything that I wanted to do. And if it falls flat, then whatever it does. At least I tried.
Exactly. I think that's
Mhm.
so important, especially like if you're anywhere near social media or anything like that, like you kind of just like have to
Yeah.
just explore and just see what happens and see where it takes you. Funny
Hmm.
enough, like I am also like reserved.
Hmm.
I'm a very like it's so funny. I'm like an extroverted introvert. Like
Okay.
I can be like the loudest person
Yeah.
but like when you first meet me, I'm just gonna be like tail
Yeah.
behind, just sitting.
Uh
Nah, nah. But then
huh.
once you get to know me, then I'm like loud and like all
Yeah.
over the place. But I feel like that's like a lot of people where it's just like you have to get comfortable and you have to
Yeah.
know that your energy is safe wherever it
Yeah.
is that you're gonna be. Because like not everybody
Mhm.
has it out. Not everybody has like good intentions for you. So
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
protect them.
Absolutely. So then, when it comes to when you create art, would you say that that's an extension of your personality, or maybe a side of you that other people don't get to see?
For sure. It's so funny. I actually dabbled into a lot of fun things and projects
Yeah.
and work this past year that I just didn't really like do before.
Hmm.
I okay, so I'm just gonna give a little bit of insight about me and like my artist journey so you can kind of understand.
Hmm.
Um, I I've always been interested in art, like from a kid. Always was doodling, drawing, all that stuff, but never really had like a groundwork. I actually took a class in my sophomore year of high school, I think, and it was just
Mhm.
like a simple like drawing class,
Yeah.
and that's where it really got ignited. Like I met that one teacher, and he just
Yeah.
like he was a realist artist, so like
Mhm.
he taught me how to do that, and I didn't know I had a skill in it. So I learned with charcoal. If you go through my website, you can see like where I started, like, and see my very first like
Yeah.
charcoal pieces, and that's really where I got my framework. So I didn't know how to work with color
Okay.
really until last year, when I took a
Mhm.
course online during the pandemic, and like
Uh-huh.
learned all about color and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So once I learned how to use color, and
Mhm.
once I like got my iPad and started to like transition from classical to digital,
Yeah.
I started to jump into a whole bunch of different things. And that's when like my work really showed who I was. Like it's just
Yeah.
really colorful, really bright.
Yeah.
I started to make pieces that were a little bit more intimate, like showing
Mhm.
that I was not like just this kid drawing anymore. Like I was
Yeah.
becoming a woman growing into,
Mhm.
somebody who likes intimacy. Like I enjoy different ideas, and like I started to dabble into mental health, and you start
Mhm.
to see in some pieces like they're really joyful, and then some pieces you can tell that there's like darkness behind them.
Yeah.
So I really think that it is an extension of who I am. And something that I want to touch on that you asked me about or mentioned earlier
Mhm.
was the use of like Galaxy,
Yeah.
and like having that as a framework. That's actually tied to a lot of the bullying that I faced when I was younger, like just
Really.
not feeling like I belonged anywhere.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I make my own world in my
Mhm.
pieces. I'm transported to wherever it is, whatever it is that I make. So it's like that's really why I use the galaxy theme, because I want to take you somewhere else. I don't want you to think that you're here when you
Ah.
look at my work. And that's really
Mhm.
why um a lot of my work is like not only myself, but like you get to be with me wherever it is, within whatever it is that I made. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. It's because it's funny you said that, because I was going to ask you that. It feels like you're inviting us into your world, and
Right.
it's maybe a place that you haven't been, but a place that you can feel comfortable in. I mean, at least that's how I feel when I look at it. And I just wanted to say, you not knowing how to use color, it blows my mind. That is that is one of the craziest things, because all of yours, especially the more recent ones, the color, and I think you use a great blend of color with a dark background and the different contrasts, and these colors are bright and vivid, and I would never in a million years think that I would have thought that this was how it always was in the beginning, because you're so
Oh,
good at it. It blows
it's
my mind.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. That I could okay. So it's so funny. I had a mentor that was really big on color, and I was always like how do you shade? Like how do you do that? And he's like, it's just something that you learn. And I was like, but how? I didn't understand how.
Tell me.
Like I knew how to shade, I knew how to do all that stuff. Because the one thing that the teacher that I had taught me, he was like, when it comes to realism, there's no lines in real life. Like it's just darks and lights. Like that's
Mhm.
what you're messing around with. So that's what I know, that like somebody who doesn't have like an artist brain per se doesn't
Mhm.
understand that necessarily. But for me, it made perfect sense. It's like
Yeah.
it's either this shade or it's this shade. Like there's
Mhm.
no in
Yeah.
betweens in that.
Yeah.
Um, so once I translated that to like color, um, I was like, oh, this is how this works. I
Mhm.
get it now. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. I'm trying to, so that you have like reference
Uh-huh.
to, this was my very first piece that I messed around with. uh, that I mess around with art. I don't know if
Oh,
you can
okay.
see it very
Yeah.
well, but what the course that I
Is that on
took
your
was,
site? Hmm.
it is
Is
on
that
my
one
site.
on your website? I don't know.
Yes, it
Didn't
is.
I see? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Finding color. Okay. Yeah. Great
Yes.
one. Uh-huh.
Why it's called Finding Color.
Uh-huh.
Course that I took was on lighting and shading.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessarily on color, but it was on, like lighting and shading. So
Uh-huh.
with this piece, if you look at it closely, like you can see that there's different light coming from different areas
Yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
messing around with. But then I was like, you know what, why don't we actually try to use
Hmm.
color this time? This is the
Yeah.
first time that I did that, and it came out. So this is the first time I got like a lot of like attention on my work, and I
Really.
was like, oh, well, I like
Uh-huh.
this color thing. And
Yeah.
then that's when everything just flipped upside down. And then immediately, like the next thing that I did was this. And then
Okay.
color just came like
Okay.
my whole life. So
Yeah. Yeah. I can see. Absolutely. All right. Okay. So then you have the series of I guess it's just the different colors with the woman's figure inside
yes.
of the lotus flowers. Now, was
Yes. So
this okay? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
sorry. No, no, no. I'm so
No, you
sorry.
talk. This is about you.
So this was actually another thing that I just was like, I was jumping into. I another thing that I was just like, let me just mess around with color. Um, and again, like jumping kind of into my womanhood as well. I just was like,
Mhm.
let me just fuse the two of them together. Like I really had a vision for like the woman, like the female body,
Mhm.
and then my body, and then as well as just like color in general, infusing them together. And I was messing around with this living in color. I was using that a lot last year because I
Okay.
feel like I said, I feel like I found color for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's really why that series was just kind of like the first kind of start to like the second half of the year
Okay.
for me. And that's when art really started to kind of just roll off my hands. Like I
Yeah.
just kind of couldn't stop the creativity and the
Yeah.
color, and everybody was really like following me and like enjoying this process that I was going through. So
Hmm.
that's when I think that I did that immediately. Let me just make sure, May
Yeah.
31st. I think I did that right before I jumped into my the next series, which was like the intimacy one, the which was a
Hmm.
little bit more colorful as well.
Yeah.
I really wanted to I tweeted about it. I said I want to make more intimate art because I want to
Yeah.
show that like I'm not just a kid anymore. Like I want to
Yeah.
show like, I'm growing
Yeah.
up. Like you're seeing me grow up with my art. You're seeing
Yeah.
like the different
Yeah.
like
That's
things that I'm
great.
going through. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that's the really good thing I think about social media when it comes to artists. Because you get to see the progression, once the
right.
posts start. So yeah, so like I looked at I always go down the bottom first, and then I work my way up to see the progression, and maybe because a lot of people sometimes style changes, but yeah, yours it got more beautiful and colorful. Now the intimacy, or is that part of like the reignited series that
Yeah,
you have
it's
here? Because
reignited series.
yeah, these are some of my absolute favorite pieces of yours because yeah, it really does show you've captured intimacy, in this, galactic space background with all of these colors. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it.
So if I can get a little bit personal really quick.
Okay.
Um, so last year was a lot for me. It was a very, very transitional year in terms of, like my art and like as well as like personal stuff.
Hmm.
Last year I got out of a relationship. It ended up being a little bit abusive,
Oh,
and
hmm.
so my art reflected that for a little bit because I was in a very dark, just lost place because it was
Hmm.
like a physical abuse situation.
Wow.
Um, so this series actually popped up after I I had like rekindled a relationship with somebody else.
Okay.
And it's like this relationship brought out my femininity again. Like
Okay.
I didn't feel like I was stifled anymore. I didn't feel like I had to stifle my personality. I didn't feel like I had to be afraid to be who I was,
Yeah.
or I could just be bright and like
Yeah.
and happy and sexy and all these different
Yeah.
things. And I really appreciated this person for allowing that to come out of me, even though I'm not even talking or dating this person now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like they brought that side out of me. So it's
Yeah.
like that allowed for my art to shift again and
Okay.
pull me out of that dark spot. So I feel like my art imitated reality a lot throughout the
Okay.
year. And it's kind of funny because the way I put it on my website, I kind of just threw my pieces up there. So you said you started from the bottom, worked your way up.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Everything is in chronological order. And I did
Oh,
that on
okay.
purpose
Oh,
because
I see.
sometimes I jump in and out of different
Wow.
styles, different
Yeah.
ideas. And I want people to see that like sometimes your art can be really intricate and deep and dark, and sometimes it could just be really simple and light and playful, and sometimes it can
Yeah.
mean something and sometimes it can mean nothing. And
Yeah.
that's really what I wanted to emulate with my website and with the way I put my pieces up there. But I just
Yeah.
really wanted to share that so you can kind of see like art, my life is entirely in my pieces. Like that's
Yeah.
my escape, but it's also like my my reality.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know how else to say it, but yeah, this
Uh-huh.
is my art is me.
Okay. So would you say that being willing to be that uh, vulnerable, excuse me,
Mhm.
um, has made an impact on your art? Because I do feel like that even, not necessarily artists, but to hide, a piece of you, you're not really, allowing yourself to show everything that you can be. So
Right.
like you said, with the relationships that you had before, that there were some dark times, and then you met someone who pulled you out of that. Would Without allowing yourself to be vulnerable and showing it in your pieces, do you think that it would feel, I guess, real to you, that you are painting what is inside of you, and not just, like you said, some stuff can be happy and light, but really reaching from inside of yourself to express how you feel?
Yeah, so it's funny because during that time I kind of paused on my art because what like I said, my art is my release. So
Yeah.
um I didn't want to taint it with putting negativity into it.
Yeah.
So but then I was like, that's in a sense it wasn't real. It was like I was living in a fantasy. So I was like, how
Mm-hmm.
do I fuse the two? And it's very funny. At the time I was my friend was living with me because I was living with the person that I was with at the time, that I had to move back home. It was really a crazy situation. And my friend, we were kind of like therapizing each other. Like it was just really nice to have another black woman like
Yeah.
be like helping me through that.
Mm-hmm.
And something that we were all very spiritual. So something that she did was she would like make me like meditate
Yeah.
and focus on like crystal work and all these different things. And the reason why I bring her up is because she's the reason really why my art started to get a little dark and I started to be honest with my work. I started
Oh,
to
okay.
actually go and put some of the darkness into it because she was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I can't explain how I feel. Like I can't
Uh-huh.
explain how when you love someone and then they put their hands on you, but you still want to care for them because you know that they're like meant
Yeah.
like so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to put that in words. So she was like, draw it. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like, yeah, I'll
There
draw
we
it.
go.
And it's so funny because that piece was actually, you probably know what piece I'm about to go to.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna see if you can guess what piece I'm about to go to.
Ooh.
Did I
Balance.
Which one?
Balance. The one. Jeez. Man.
One?
See what you just said. Oh God. That was
No,
that
no,
was
no.
my
I'm asking,
first
are you
guess.
referencing this one? Because I don't remember how I named my pieces. I
No,
just
I was no, I
oh, this
wasn't.
one.
That one you have on your side called Reflection. I had that one and the one called Balance. I was choosing between the two because the one with the reflection, I absolutely, I have it written down here because I want to talk about a couple of your pieces. I have
It's
that
fine.
one written down here
It's
because
fine.
no, yeah, go ahead, talk about that piece. It's
Yes.
excellent.
It was this piece.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
So I was like, she was like,
Breaking point. Yeah. Uh-huh.
how do you feel? And I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know. I just
Uh-huh.
so I literally took a picture of myself,
Yeah.
literally like this, and
Hmm.
I just broke myself apart. And now you see
Yeah.
how on the inside of the piece, you see the
Yeah.
like, galaxy, you see like if you look
Uh-huh.
closely, like there's an astronaut in there, like there's a lot going on up there.
Oh,
And I was
oh
like, but
yeah. Mhm.
that's how I feel right now. Like
Okay.
I don't have words. I just feel broken. You can
Yeah.
see that if you look very closely at the piece, like there's tears that are like searing into my cheek and exposing the underneath as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Um, like there's a lot of layers that go into that. And then
Uh-huh.
following that piece, I was meditating with my friend, and she told me to just to pick up any stone to meditate with. And the
Mm-hmm.
piece that I thought you were referencing,
Mm-hmm.
this one, the
Yeah.
reflection one,
Yeah.
um, I picked up obsidian, which for if you're a spiritual person, obsidian is like
Mm-hmm.
the stone for like cutting cords and
Oh, okay.
like being like really raw and just starting over and absorbing negative energy. And I just happened to grab
Yeah.
that one, and I
Mm-hmm.
sat outside and saw my reflection in the stone, and
Wow.
obviously that's how that piece came out. So
Wow.
these moments that you're seeing in these pieces were
Yeah.
moments that I was having as I was healing from that relationship.
Yeah.
So that to back to your question, because I feel like I went all over the
No,
place.
no, that's fine. No,
Um,
no, keep talking.
yeah, so I definitely took like a lot of the darkness that I was going through and started to put it into my pieces so I could be more realistic. So I
Okay.
could show people how like, yeah, I'm light and happy and colorful. That's who I am. But like, this is what I'm going through right now. And I'm not okay, but it's
Yeah.
okay to not be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That is awesome. You're dealing with all sorts of feelings, and to finally confront them, I mean, it's, let me bring it back to myself. I went through a little, emotional, I wouldn't necessarily call it a breakdown, but I was not myself, and I recognized that I wasn't myself. So I took the step to go look for a therapist. I found it. Now, who you decide to talk to, I mean, is totally up to you. Anyone that's watching this that's maybe thinking about doing it, I say, if you're thinking about it, definitely give it a shot. But I wanted to find someone that I felt comfortable talking to.
Right.
So I found this black owned therapy center in Altadena, California. Shout out Altadena, what's going on? And I when I signed up, I left a message and I said, if possible, I would like to have a black female therapist, just because that's who I feel most comfortable talking to.
Right.
Right. And so she was absolutely wonderful. I didn't find out until much later that I was her first male client ever. And
Wow.
yeah, I never would have guessed that. We're probably around, she might have even been a little younger than I have. But going to that place where I thought, okay, I told her things I've never told anyone. Of course, that's what you do when you're in therapy. But I never thought that I would really sit down one day and think, okay, these are all of my problems that I know I haven't dealt with. And I know that I've been, just shoving in the back and look forward and don't look behind. But
Mhm.
for me, and it sounds like it was the same way for you. It was more not so much looking back at all of the bad stuff, but addressing all of it and finding ways to deal with it. And it changed my life. It really did. Once, when I did the first episode, I messaged, because she I don't see her anymore. She actually got promoted within the company and stopped taking clients, which kind of broke my heart. But she was the first person I texted, and I told her I did it. I absolutely did it, and that was, she was the first person I wanted to tell, because she knew exactly where I was before all of this started,
Right.
the dark place that I was in, and all of the things that she helped me work out. And I thought that, I can't, some things that I thought I couldn't ever talk about. And so finally I just kind of threw up all of this, all of this past, and all of the bad things that I hadn't gotten over even as a kid.
Mhm.
And I'm a different person for it. And now hearing your story and talking about how you express it through the art, yeah, that's great. That I feel that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for so much for sharing that with me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
so nice to hear about other people utilizing like mental health resources. Like
Yeah,
I love hearing about people of color using mental health resources.
yeah,
Because for me there was a long time where I had a stigma around it where I was like, no, I don't need to speak to anybody. Like I'm not crazy. Like, but
yeah,
that's stigma around it. Like
yeah.
people think that if you go to therapy you're crazy, and it's like it's not crazy to want to talk to somebody, like to want
Yeah.
to be to be validated in how you're feeling. It's
Mhm.
okay. Like and I think that a lot of, especially people of color, like they don't take the time to like to just be like, you don't have to talk to like your friends or
Yeah.
your family. Like you can talk to somebody who is off the record, who just has to listen to you and doesn't have to put themselves in it. Like it's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that that's so important, and something that I really do try to advocate for, um especially in within this community, because I feel like it's just so important.
Yeah.
um for me last year, on top of what was going on with that, that was actually the year that I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
Right at the same time that this is all happening. So like these pieces were also reflecting that. So, but I wouldn't have found this out had I not spoken to a Black female therapist, if I
Yeah.
did not speak to a Black female like neuropsychologist.
Hmm.
Like, because I don't know if this many people are aware of this, but getting that diagnosis as a Black woman is very hard, because we're already stigmatized as we're loud and we're just annoying and just ghetto. Like, so you
Sure.
don't see a lot of like, we're not like seen as that. And a lot of the things that I was struggling with, like procrastination and being very sporadic and not being able to like focus on one thing, or just like making so many pieces that people were like, these don't even look good after a certain point. Like all of
Yeah.
that was coming from something that I didn't even know that I had
Yeah.
until I
Yeah.
had to speak to someone about it.
Uh-huh.
So like finding that part of myself and going through all this all at the same time and integrating that all together, it's just like, it was a very, like I said, it was a very transformational year. Like there
Yeah.
was a lot that happened for me that was put into perspective, and
Yeah.
it comes all the way back to mental health and taking care of that. If I didn't
Yeah.
have that, I wouldn't be here right now,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. On your website, on the tab that says about me and your story. Now I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's very, the thing that I took from it when I had to read it a few times, it's very deep, first of all. Okay. It's very beautifully written,
Thank
but
you.
I thought to myself, wow, she is, and this is one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you. You were so comfortable with maybe being an example to other people. If someone were to read that, and I'm telling you guys, please check out the website twillztv.com. I'll put it down here on the bottom. It was very, yeah, absolutely. It was very refreshing to read that, because a lot of people, I don't think, are, maybe they're scared to, or they're not comfortable being that honest about themselves. I mean, to the public, because it's very, very deep. Now, one thing I did want to read,
Go
where
ahead.
it
Go ahead.
says about me, and it says why T-Willzz TV. Now, this is, I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm reading it word for word, but this is the bottom half, and that's why I knew you were going to be very interesting to talk to. Now, it says my art is my chance to share all of the lifetimes, all the lessons, and all the loves I've met with the rest of the world. I hope my art gives you as much life as it continues to reignite into me. Every piece I make is one of my greatest achievements, one of my biggest lessons, and one of my mightiest blessings. Enjoy my colors. This is the one line that stood out to me the most. It's that, all right, it says, every piece I make is one of my greatest achievements. And I think that is a great way to look at life, because you can't, there's only so far into the future that you can plan. But what you
Right.
can do is, take steps. And you saying that each one is your greatest achievement. Once you finish it, this is my greatest achievement. And I think a lot of people could learn to hear those words, because you might be on a long, long journey, and you might have an idea where you're going, but sometimes it's hard along the way. It's those little wins that you keep stacking up, and little wins that you keep stacking up until you get there. And that's why that line to me, it's absolutely great. And it was words to live by. Absolutely wonderful. And again, people, I am telling you, check out the website and read what she's written, because it's beautiful. It really
Thank you
is.
so much. I think that line for me, I'm gonna bring it. I'm always gonna bring it back to mental health, because that like that's
Yeah.
my thing. Like,
Yeah.
but for me, the reason why I say that is because I struggled a lot with suicide and depression, and
Mhm.
like to this day, like I still deal with those things.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I thought that my next piece had to be better than the last, and
Oh, I
it
see.
doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It like every piece that comes out of you is an achievement. You woke up today, like that in itself is
Yeah.
an achievement. And I think that especially people who deal with mental health issues, or people who just are existing and don't know why, I think it's really major to just take a second to be gracious to yourself and
Mhm.
say, we don't really know why we're here.
Yeah.
But we're taking it one day at a time, and that's okay. It's okay to take a second to just
Yeah.
be like, you did this, you got up today, you brushed your teeth today,
Yeah.
you wrote one sentence down today. Like, be proud that you did that, because there's a lot of people that can't do that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
grateful for it. So that's
Mhm.
why I had to take a moment to just be like, no matter if my work is the best that's out there or the worst that's out there or whatever, like, for me, I'm just grateful that I was able to pick up a pencil and
Yes.
do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that any artist or anybody who is a creative needs to just remember. Like, be gracious to yourself. It's
Yeah.
okay to make something that's crappy and then the next day to make the best thing that you've ever made. Like,
Yeah.
be gracious, be kind, be caring to yourself, because it's you against everything else. And
Yeah.
this talent that you have is with you for a reason,
Yeah.
and use it for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that's the only way that you're going to make it to tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. All right. So on your YouTube channel, there
Yes.
is a video titled "The Story Behind the Butterflies,"
uh,
which was, yeah, that made me very emotional watching it. Okay, but thank you for putting it out there. It's people, please watch this video. So you were a twin. You were born a twin,
yes.
and you had a twin brother, and he had a very short time in this world. Now you talk about how he took his last breath and you took your first.
Mhm.
And that, yeah, that might have been, yeah, the one that, yeah, that hit me the hardest. Do you feel like, well, maybe not now so much anymore, now that I've gone through all of your, a lot of your stuff here online, did you feel like maybe a piece of you was missing because
Oh
of
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Oh, to this day I feel like there's a piece of me missing. It's me and my mom like know that there's just
Yeah.
something that's not there. And
Mhm.
that story, that took me a long time to share. A lot of
Yeah.
people didn't know that about me for a while. Like, people who were really close to me knew, because everybody's like, why do you have butterflies everywhere? Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
um but that for me was something that was a very pivotal fact about my journey as an artist,
Mhm.
because that was the piece of me that was missing throughout my entire life. Like I said, I'm very spiritual, so that's something that, like, every so often I'll see like lights flicker, or I'll see a butterfly, or certain things that'll happen in
Mhm.
my life. And I don't you can chalk it up to religion, spirituality, I don't know what you believe in.
Yeah.
Whatever you believe in, I believe in it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um but
Yeah. I
for
like that.
me it's spirituality. And I believe that what you put into the world is what you receive. And my brother was just this spirit that was literally right next to me, but in this other matrix level style that I
Hmm.
can't really put into words. That's just the best way that I can explain it.
Yeah. Okay.
um and I really wanted to share this story with people, because I really needed people to understand this is also a part of me as well. It's
Yeah.
missing from me, but it's a part of me. And it's why it's integrated in my art so much, why you
Yeah.
see it in so many different things, why I have butterflies literally
Yeah.
tattooed everywhere,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
why it's literally in everything. I guess you can say it's a way for me to pay homage to him, because I
Hmm.
don't want him to think that I forgot about what his sacrifice was for me.
Hmm.
It was my chance to live. And
Yeah.
I don't know if he wanted to be an artist, or if he wanted to be a
Yeah.
football player, or if he wanted to be like, I don't know what he wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I feel as though giving him a presence as much as I can in my life
Hmm.
will allow him to exist here with me, and give him the chance to be whoever he needed to be
Yeah.
with me, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's
No, that
just
makes
such
perfect sense.
like just this topic for me is just so much bigger than me that it's like
Yeah.
talking about it's like I kind of go starry-eyed because it's like it's hard to put into words how that feels,
Mm-hmm.
um and what it's like. I
Mm-hmm.
just know that I go through certain things and I experience him in different ways, and I just try my best to just make sure that he's proud, and that I make sure that the people that are rooting for me are proud, because I feel I owe them that, because I
Yeah.
give them hope, and I feel like
Yeah.
hope is a dangerous thing if highlighted in the wrong way,
Yes.
but if you highlight it in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
hope is the only thing that's keeping this world spinning, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Uh-huh.
and that's what my brother gave me, was hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for talking about it with me. Yeah, because I had noticed too all of the lots of butterflies in your work, and there's one
Everywhere.
in particular. Okay. So I like how you have on your website, your portfolio website, where I began and where I am now. Now, I know you talked about sort of evolving, through just through your life and experiences, the way that you create now. But do you feel like from where you had started to maybe, when you thought, okay, I can do this for real, like I'm really talented at this, I'm pretty good, to right now, do you think that, I mean, not just, growing with age, but emotionally and spiritually, are you a different person now than the person who picked up a pencil and started drawing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um and I think I would be sad to say I wasn't,
Mm.
um because that means I feel like that there would have been no growth. um I feel like the inner child within me is still there. Like it's
Yeah.
still the little Taylor that like had all the little hopes and dreams. She's still there,
Hmm.
but who I was when I first picked up that pencil to who I am now,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to say that it's a different person. I want to be able to say that she is a better person, that I've learned so many lessons, and I've seen so many things, and I'm not gonna lie, I've hurt people. I've been hurt. I've
Yeah.
gone through experiences that have changed me, that have broken me, that have built me up. I can honestly say that the person that I am now, I'm proud of,
Yeah.
and I'm proud and I'm grateful that she's here, because I know how hard it was for her to fight. I know that my mom is proud of me, which is probably the most important thing,
Yeah.
for
Uh-huh.
me. I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional. It's
No,
just,
no, it's fine.
it's like
Take your
I feel
time.
like it's just really a big accomplishment that I'm here right now, because there's a lot of moments that I really didn't think that I would be.
Yeah.
So the person that's sitting here right now, like she's just very grateful to just be here. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely am a different person, and I'm
Hmm.
grateful that I am, but I'm just grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
life is just so beautiful, and it's just so
Yeah.
nice to be a part of it.
That's great. Absolutely. That is great. You know what, Matt? I love your energy. This is absolutely wonderful. So were your artistic talents always, was that side of you nurtured? Like people I'm sure always knew that you were artistic. And also because what did you say your major was? What did you graduate?
um Biological
Biological
psychology
science.
with a
Okay.
double minor in biology and neuroscience.
Okay. So I take it as far like scholastically, you've always been pretty good. You were always smart. You were all so
That was all right.
yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Be modest. But so you're this, I'm gonna gas you up a little bit, a little this incredibly smart person, artistically talented, and you decide, okay, I'm going to be an artist full time. Was that I don't want to say accepted, but was everyone on board with you, the people around you, or
Oh
did they
no.
think, what are you doing, what's going on?
my mom is still just like, okay, sure. I love your art. So interesting. You know, I love you so much, child of mine.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that really quick. So okay. I'm not gonna lie, like a part of me still wants to be a neuropsychologist. Like that's still
Okay.
something that's calling to me.
Okay.
But a part of me is also like there's still room for me to fuse art and mental
Yeah.
health and
Hmm.
psychology and all that fun stuff together. And I know that I can do it. I just gotta figure out a way to get there.
Yeah.
But so my journey was supposed to be that I was supposed to go to PA school and become a physician's assistant
Yeah.
and jump into that whole thing, and that was supposed to happen, but then COVID happened and I really didn't want to go to Zoom University. um,
Yep.
because I finished my last semester over Zoom and it was probably the hardest
Yeah.
semester ever. So I was just like, I can't do that. Like I'm a
Hmm.
very hands-on learner. Like I like to be
Yeah.
sitting in class. I take very colorful notes, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's like I like to have that relationship with the teacher. Like I've always been like that. I went to a small high school with only
Yeah.
400 kids. Like my graduating class was 100 people.
Oh, that's
Like
great. Yeah, me too.
yeah,
That's
so it's
fine.
like like
I get it.
I
Yeah.
like that kind of thing, and I feel like COVID took that away from us and is taking the
Mhm.
interpersonal away
Yeah.
from us a lot.
Hmm.
Like I love the digital age. Like I grew up in that. Like it's so
Yeah.
weird being 23. Like it's like I'm half part of like the last bit of the 90s babies that like
Yeah.
all the old school stuff, but I'm also a part of the new age that's like a part like I get TikTok, but I also know what a VHS is.
Yeah.
Like it's like, whoa, I still
Yeah.
exist.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I have ADHD. For me and my mom, it was kind of just like, you are so talented, you're so smart. Like, why
Yeah.
don't you go all the way? You have this. But it's
Hmm.
like I can't right now. Like
Yeah.
COVID took away not only like my chance to graduate, but it's taking away this interpersonalness that I love
Hmm.
about learning. It's
Yeah.
taking that away from me. And and as much as I love the digital era, it's not what I want to learn in.
Yeah.
Not capacity that I want to learn how to help humans through a screen. I can't do that. And that's
Yeah.
not what I
Yeah.
want.
You're right. Yeah.
So it's like I was like, I'm gonna take a break and I'm going to, move forward from there. And right now, as of now, it's gonna be my second year that I'm out of school. My mom actually just was able to go back into school. I just want to talk about her for a second. She actually has breast cancer. She's had it since I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
something that I do touch on a lot in a lot of my
Yeah.
pieces. I talk about it a lot because she is somebody that it's funny. The doctors of to this day are like, you really shouldn't be here, but she's a very strong cookie. So she
Yeah.
fought and has fought and has fought and has come
Yeah.
in and out of remission at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Um, so, you know, the fact that she's in PA school right now is really revolutionary because she couldn't go the first time when I was in
Yeah.
high school because she got so sick. So for me going to PA school, and the reason why I went into college as like a bio major, it was for her. I was living for her. You see that theme in my life a lot, that I'm
Yeah.
living for other people. And, I wanted to give her that, but I was like, as much as I want to give you that, I also have to live my life. And I know that college for me was traumatizing. Like
Really.
there was so much that I just did not enjoy, and there's a lot that I had to teach myself. Like I really feel like that's why that degree means so much to me, is like I taught myself
Yeah.
everything. Like
Yeah.
like teachers did a lot, but I was in the
Yeah.
libraries teaching myself these
Hmm.
things.
Yeah.
And it was like I can't do that the way that I want to and give you what you want at the same time and be happy. And
Yeah.
I know that art is the thing that's going to do that for me.
Okay.
And so that's why I try to kind of fuse all of it together so it kind of makes sense. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't, I'm happy. Like
Yeah.
she's
Uh-huh.
happy that I'm happy. She's just grateful to be here. I'm
Yeah.
just grateful that she's here and that I'm here. Honestly, she was the only person that it really mattered that was kind of upset that I didn't
Okay.
keep going,
Yeah.
or that I'm not gonna that I may not keep going. I'm not gonna say that I'm not, because I might. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. She's the only, like I said, she's the only person that mattered. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are probably like, you're so smart. You could have went so far, like
Yeah.
especially in the medical field, like you think so far outside the box. You could have created something. And I was like, I could have.
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have been honest to myself. And I'm
Yes.
living for me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
art is what
Mhm.
I can create that makes me happy. And if I can influence the next person to cure cancer because I decided to follow my dream,
Yeah.
then that's all that matters to me.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. That's true. Yeah, because I feel like even if you're good at something, if your heart is not in it,
Right.
then you'll never be the best you can be, because it's really not what you really want to do just because you
Exactly.
can't do it. I think that's great, because I know a lot of, working, good jobs,
That's not.
people who hate what they're doing. You know what I
I'm
mean? It's
so sorry. The
oh
sun
no,
is going
go. That's all right.
down.
No,
Down, and I'm trying to like keep the light with me. But go
okay.
ahead. I'm
There we
listening.
go. No, I was just saying how I think that it's great, because like I was saying, that there's a lot of miserable people just
Right.
going through life. Maybe they had something they wanted to do, or maybe they think they're too old to start something new, or which, might feel like it is the case for some people. But I do think that do what your heart is telling you to do. If you're able to do it, if you're able to somehow come up with it, then go ahead and do it, because you'll be miserable forever.
Exactly.
Absolutely forever. Yeah.
And like my mom still like she's always like, you should totally, go to school, go back to school. And I'm like, yeah, mom,
Uh-huh.
totally. I'm going
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
And that's the
Um
thing though. It's not like you can't. It's not like you can't ever do
right,
it. You could
right.
still
I
do
think
it.
that's what I think that a lot of people don't understand.
Uh-huh.
Is that for like the older generations, it was kind of like you had to just jump to jump to jump.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like everything was planned out. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, now, like I'm 23, I have
Yeah.
my degree. I'm turning
Yeah.
24. You're like, I'm young. I still have
Young.
time. I can jump into so many different things.
Yeah.
Um, I will toot my own horn for something for a second. Like I am skilled at quite a few things.
All
So
right. Okay. All right.
I
Okay.
can
All right. Wait a minute. You can't say that without telling me a couple of
uh
these things. Then, all right. All right. So let's
uh
hear it.
okay.
What would you say you're
So
better than most at? Ah, don't be
better
don't
than
be
most.
modest.
Okay. Well, okay. So for one, yeah, I'm pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
of
smart. I'm
course.
pretty
I
proud of my
mean,
degree.
yeah,
Um,
I got that.
um, art, obviously I'm into videography, video production,
Hmm.
a little bit into photography and all that stuff. It's not
Yeah.
something that I'm like fully in,
Hmm.
but I can do it.
The
Um,
videos on your YouTube channel, did you cut those? Did you put all of
all
those together? Oh, yeah, it's great. Really
everything
good.
that you see
Yeah.
anywhere has been made by me.
Wow. That's
Um,
great.
I'm starting to get into 3D modeling. I'm trying my best to get into animation and all that fun stuff. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things I'm trying to dabble in.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not like I'm good. I'm not
Mhm.
amazing, but I just want to say that I'm like a jack of many trades.
There we go. I love it. I love it. That is awesome.
I'm like, there's a lot of things that I can jump into, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
might as well just take the time to just have fun and
Yeah.
jump into them all. Like, how
Yeah. You know what?
that's what life's about,
Try everything. I
right?
tell people this: if you're young and you don't have kids, because kids do, kids change things. All right, kids absolutely change things. They change things for me. But do
Pretty cool.
everything. Whatever you want to do, go try it. Go do it, because you only live once, and you're going to be thinking about what you should have done for years and for years and for years. All right, let me tell you a little story. All right, so a long time ago, I used to. Well, I still like write music and like compose music. I played the bass. I come from a very musical family,
That's something
and
else that I did too. I
oh
played the trumpet.
really? Oh,
Yep.
of course. I should have guessed what instrument you played. All right, so I so I did this show. Right, I did this show in Long Beach, and it went great. I produced all my own music. I did like 2 songs or something, and I think it was this, like, it was just a showcase where they had different label reps and stuff there. So I did a show, and it went great, and I get off stage, I'm feeling great, and this guy comes up to me, and he says, "Hello, I'm so and so," and he's there with his assistant. "I'm from Convict Music," and this is when Akon first came out, right? So Convict Music was a huge deal, right?
Right.
So I do this show, and I'm feeling good. He gets all my contact information, and I'm thinking this is maybe like the third or fourth show I did. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Like, this is going better than I thought it could. And I never got a call back. And it crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. It was, it was so hard. But now that I look back on it, I'm very glad what I'm doing here. This art show. It's something that I've always wanted to do.
Right.
But I look back and I think, you know what? I'm glad I did it. I'm glad, even though I didn't get a call back, I'm glad I still did it. It was still a lot of fun. And somewhere floating out there are a couple of songs I made. So no one go look for those. But yeah, but that just goes to show that if you want to do something, just go do it. Go do it. If you have the chance to do it, do it.
If it makes you happy, just do it. Like, I think so many people, and I said this earlier, is like, I am living for so many other people, but like, I'm also trying my best to live for myself as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't really be a people pleaser your whole life. Like, you can try.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are in middle school and high school, and then you grow up and you're like, oh, this is, this is how life is really supposed to. And you have to start figuring things out for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're the one who, once the money, the direct deposit comes in from something, like, where's that money going? What are you paying for that's making you happy?
Yes,
you're working, going to work every day. What is it that you're getting this money for? What is it for?
Yeah.
Like, I think people are like, you have to pay your bills, you have to do this. Yeah, but you have to live.
Yes.
Like,
you can't work to live. You can't work to live. You
have to love what you do. You don't have to love what you do. You can like what you do, but love what your hobby is on the side.
Yes.
Maybe that hobby becomes something that can turn into like the thing that makes you money. Like, that's what I find so dope about life, is that anything could happen. Like, something that works out for somebody may not work out for you, and then vice versa. Something that works out for you may not work for everybody else, but everybody else's path is different, and it's just, you're alive, so just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your outlook on life. This is great. This has come from a lot of darkness. Like, I feel like a lot of really bright people, like, and a lot of people that I know in my life, they have such dark stories, or they came from this very dark, but not everybody. You don't have to go through something traumatizing to like be a dope person, but I feel like it adds character, because you've seen things or gone through things where you're just like, it's okay for something to not be good. It's okay for something to not be perfect. It's okay to be eating ramen for a second. It's okay to be taking the bus for a little bit. It's okay to not have money for something for a second. It's okay. Life goes on. As long as you have breath in your body, you have options. Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, this is kind of off the cuff. Have you always been a spiritual person? Because I feel like no one really grows up like that. Because when you're younger, maybe you go to church. Like me, I went to Catholic school, and you're told to believe in something just because, right? Now, I would consider myself a spiritual person. I still go to church. I meditate and all of that stuff. But was that always something that was a part of you, or just through this journey of life, you've grown to be more spiritual?
I'm laughing at this because I feel like what you would have expected of me is not at all where I came from. Like, yeah, you should have had an art degree. No, biopsych. Well, here's another one. I went to Catholic school pretty much my entire life. So
me too.
Like, so I was very much like in the Bible. Like, I grew up in a Baptist church. Like, I grew up Christianity, Catholicism, like the both of them, trying to understand the two of them. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated it. I absolutely respect all religion, creed, whatever it is that you believe in. Like I said, I believe. For me, and this might have to play a lot into like race and like a bunch of different things that fall into this like this very dark, deep hole. Going to Catholicism, that's Catholic schism. Whoa, Catholic school.
Yeah.
I actually was really where I ran into my first dealings of like people who were being racist. That's where I
Wow.
dealt with like
Yeah.
I dealt with like discrimination about my hair, like how
Hmm.
my nails looked, how I looked, the
Yeah.
way I dressed, that's where I was bullied like the first time. Like there was like a lot that happened
Yeah.
in the place of the Lord that I was like,
Yeah.
this doesn't
Yep.
this doesn't seem like this is how this is supposed to go. Even within family, like we had a family like priest that was I'm very honest. Like I don't know
Okay.
how to like put a filter on that.
Yeah. No.
So a trigger warning to anybody who's been like
Okay.
sexually abused or anything like that. There was a pastor that was a part of my family that was that molested me and my cousin. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I saw from a young age that you can be a holy person but not
Hmm.
really one with God. So
Yes.
for me, religion wasn't real. Like it was
Hmm.
like, how can a book that's been rewritten by humans be it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Not denouncing anything else out
Yeah.
there. For me it didn't make sense.
Uh-huh.
um so something that did make sense was, you know, if you're a good person,
Hmm.
you receive that back. If you do something nice for somebody else, you receive that back. Not all the time, but you should, positive intent, karma and all that stuff. Like what you put into the world is what comes back. I
Hmm.
started to see that, and that started to make a little bit more sense than religion did. So I started to follow that. From a young age, I started to collect crystals and rocks and stuff. And for a
Hmm.
while, I didn't understand why. I just was
Yeah.
so drawn to them. And like now I have a whole collection, and I
Yeah.
believe all of that stuff because I really feel like, well, stones is what make up, rocks is what we're on. We're on a giant rock.
Hmm.
So like
Yeah. Really.
it would only make sense that you have some kind of connection to it. And I feel like the science nerd also in me learns about these things, and I believe in the Big Bang, obviously, because
Yeah.
science. But
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
also believe that I don't understand why religion and the Big Bang can't happen at the same time. Like the Big
Yes.
Bang happened and then Jesus
Yes.
couldn't exist. Like why
Oh
can't
my
the
goodness.
two happen? Like, I
Preach.
mean, but whatever,
Yeah. No, you
um I
yeah, no,
just
yeah. No, you triggered something in me now. That's I
I just
no,
think
in a
that
good way.
I'm
Because
right. So
people
I just feel like some things have to
yeah.
make a little bit of sense,
Yes.
a little bit, just.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But that's why. So yeah, no, spirituality has not always existed in me. I
Uh-huh.
grew up on the very religious Catholic, Christianity, Baptist
Yeah.
line, but from an early age saw that one with God doesn't actually necessarily mean that you're walking with God.
No, not at
Um,
all. Yeah.
so I had to find my own way to feel
Mhm.
like my existence here matters. And that is
Absolutely.
spirituality. What I put into this world is what I receive. And that's what
Mhm.
has been happening for me and what's been
Yeah.
making sense. So if it
Yeah.
makes sense to me, if it
That's
makes sense
great.
for you, by all means, it made sense
Yeah.
for me. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. You have to do what makes sense for you. Even if because for me, I at a certain age, I had to think to myself, well, first let me say that the way that I go to Catholic church and the
Mhm.
things that I believe and the way that I practice it,
Right.
most Catholics would call me a heretic. They tell me I am not Catholic because
Dang.
oh yeah, because I'm not here for all the for all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like
It's
exactly. And so I had to tell myself, okay, what do I believe? What do I not believe? What is just a story? I understand that the Bible was written and rewritten, and ask anyone who reads the Bible who wrote the Bible. They have no idea. All right. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I have read the Bible. Like
Yeah.
I was like, this don't make no damn sense.
Uh-huh.
But I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Hallelujah. We
Yeah.
keep moving.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you
but
believe? Yeah.
you have
Uh-huh.
to, I feel like you have to have that freedom to be able
Mhm.
to do that. I feel like a lot of
Yes.
kids don't have that opportunity. Like they have,
Mhm.
like whatever their parents believed, they were forced to believe that.
Yes.
And I think for me, I was lucky. Um, that's something that I am really grateful that I got a chance to have, is that I got that freedom to kind of be who I needed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and learn how I needed to learn. My mom showed me everything. She didn't
Yeah.
care. She was like, this
Yeah.
is what life is.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and I think that that comes from her background. Like, she was kind of dealt the hard life. So she was kind of like, you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's in front of you. She, like, from when I was a kid, she was like, I always wanted to touch the stove. She was like, touch it. It's hot. You go find that out though.
Yep.
Like, so
Uh-huh.
it's like, that's how sometimes it has to be. You have to figure that out. Like, make
Yeah.
mistakes, like
Uh-huh.
see what everything is and decipher for yourself what is it that you like and what you can follow and what you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, I want to talk about a few of your pieces that I have written down here before, we are talking about art. I forgot.
I apologize. My energy is like kind of like all over the place. I'm so excited about this.
No,
Like,
this is
this is like,
great.
I want to be honest, this is like my first like
Uh-huh.
interview, like
Really?
where someone has actually like asked me about my work and is like,
Yeah.
this is so nice. Like,
Oh, good. Well, thank you
I
for doing it.
appreciate this.
Thank you. I always get, a vibe from people that I ask, and that's why I had emailed you asking you if you wanted to do that. I had a good vibe from you after watching your YouTube channel, your website. I follow you. I've been following you on Twitter. So yeah, I knew this was going to be good. I've got that sixth sense. Uh, okay, I want to talk about a few of your pieces that I highlighted here.
I'm gonna have to
Now,
pull up my own website because I forgot what I named some of
oh
my.
yeah, okay. Well, I'll show it to you.
Oh,
Uh,
fantastic. Yeah,
yeah,
show me my work because
yeah. Let me show you your own work. I have.
because I don't really, it's so interesting when I make a piece, I
Okay.
don't think of naming it. I just
Yeah.
think it just happens.
Okay.
So like when I'm putting it on my website, I'm like, okay, I have to sell this now. So what am
Yeah.
I supposed to
I gotta
do?
call it something.
Like,
Yeah.
right. So I'm just like, okay. There's a couple of them that are untitled because I was just like, I don't know what to name this. It's just some
Uh-huh.
odds. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to mean
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No,
So
I get it. I absolutely get it. City of Angels. Me being an LA native. I'm not even
I
sure if
didn't
this
think I
is
was gonna get
supposed to
asked
be
about this.
LA. Can you see
Wow.
it?
Yes, I can see. Yes.
Okay. I absolutely love this one. And one thing that I get, because from a very young age, I knew, like, this is going to sound crazy.
Listen, I'm no judgment here.
So I know that, you hear about, Black children not having a lot of, well, it's different now, but like I grew up in the 90s and not having Black role models like publicly, like on TV, or just like doctors or scientists. You never really learn about them. But for me, growing up in the 90s, especially in Los Angeles as a kid, I never thought that being Black it was just who I was, right? I didn't think it was, people looked at me negatively, because
Right.
at that time, everything that I liked was Black. Everything was Black. So
Right.
we're talking about LA in the 90s. This when rap was, everything was coming out of LA. Well, not everything, but like you had Snoop, you had Dre, you had Tupac, you had Ice Cube, you had all this stuff. My favorite TV show was Martin, all Black cast. My favorite movies were, or movies my parents used to make us watch. So like the Five Heartbeats, a lot of music that we listened to, everything that I loved was Black. It didn't really, I didn't really notice, or not notice, I didn't really understand how, people talk about how we don't have, people to look up to when you're a kid, because everyone you see on TV, or especially at that time, maybe in the 90s, I do feel like around that time, stuff was starting to change, because you did have, and all, so many Black TV shows when I was younger. And so I never felt like I was different than anyone else, or less than anyone else, because everything I loved was Black. I had a different experience in Catholic school. So I went to Catholic school. We're on the West Side. We're in Santa Monica. We're close to Venice. A lot of, old hippies still down there.
Right.
And where I went to school, It was an elementary school and a high school attached to it. And there were a lot of black kids there because a lot of black kids that lived on the west side, their parents sent them to this school. And so I was always around just a lot of different people, right? And so we used to have this thing called school families. And when you get to the 8th grade, you're the head of the school family. And so you have one student from each grade, from kindergarten to 7th grade. And then like we go to church together. We had this like these carnival games at the end of the year. And I just remember thinking, even as a kid, like we like the kumbaya stuff they teach you, that's how it was. You know, no one ever made me feel like I was different. It got a little different in high school because I went to high school in a different city, and there were no black people in this school. There was maybe like 3 or 4, and it was very, very difficult, I would say, the first couple weeks of school, because I remember going to school, the freshman orientation, and looking around, because I didn't know anyone at the school. My dad one day is like, "You're going to this school, that's it." And I remember looking around and being like, "What the fuck? I am the only black guy on this campus." And it's just, I mean, it's a small school, it's a Catholic high school,
Right.
but even so, the kids there were a few kids, but for the most part, I didn't feel different. No one made me feel different. I had some great teachers there. I had some asshole teachers there, but I mean, I never had that feeling of, oh, you're black, you're less than. I never thought that ever in my life. And so now bringing it back all the way back to this painting, the City of Angels painting, this is how I felt growing up in Los Angeles.
Hey.
Yeah, I am happy to be here. I am happy about who I am, and no one can tell me anything different about it. So that's why this piece I absolutely love.
I love that. That actually makes me so happy to hear. One thing I will say, growing up, a lot of the schools that I went to were very white.
No.
So like I yes, my household was black, but I was very used to, you can act like this at home, but you can't act like this out here. So it was like I very early like knew like there was a difference. So I wish I could say that like I didn't know that there was a difference, but I found that like, and I'm still like realizing this now. When I was growing up, I was really trying to live up to these European or white standards. Being a black girl, and I was like, no, girl, you have hips, you have curly hair, you got voluptuous things, like not like that. And that's okay. Like there's things that are different, and that's okay. So I love that you got like that you felt like freedom a little bit.
Just to be myself.
Yourself in this piece, and I love that.
Yeah.
For me, this piece was actually one of my least favorites that I made because I felt like wait. Because I felt like it wasn't one of my more skilled pieces. I felt like I kind of just like I was like just having fun and putting stuff together, and I feel like it didn't have like a deep meaning behind it or anything like that. And that's why I say like all of my art pieces now are like one of my greatest achievements, because what you just said to me makes me so happy, because I didn't get that from this. I just threw something together that just made me feel happy and made me feel alive. Like I just like, you feel city in this. And for me, it was just a fun piece, and I love that there's so much deeper meaning to that for you. And there's quite a few people that have actually said that to me, that they really love this piece, and I really didn't know that. So that makes me really happy to know that sometimes your pieces don't have to be the most skilled and detailed piece for them to be the ones that people really love and people really connect to. So thank you for that.
No, this one is great because all right, and one more thing I gotta say. So when I went to elementary school, like I never lived where I went to school, because my dad never sent me to public. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so after we'd get out of school, my mom, I'm one of 7 children. Okay. So at this time, my older brother and sister had already moved out. And so my mom would have all of us on the 5 of us on the bus going from Santa Monica back to LA. It's like an hour and a half bus ride after school. It was absolutely crazy. And so you drive through lots of different cities, and then you can see where things start to get a little less, I don't want to say nice, but you can tell the people that lived in that city that you drove through 10 minutes ago, I've maybe never even been down here before. And this piece right here, that's, how I felt, because I didn't realize we were poor until I was much older, because I never.
Right. Like your
And
parents.
this is how I feel now.
Oh,
I don't need a lot of things. Like I've never wanted all like shoes and expensive clothes. I never cared, because I've got enough money to go shopping at Santee Alley down. It's like a swap meet. And I could buy something nice. That's fine with me. I look fine. That's great. And that's how I'm telling you, that's how this piece makes me feel. Just happy to be myself where I'm at.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Oh,
That just makes me so happy. Wow.
Well, thank you. Thank you for making it. All right.
It's like I wish I could sometimes see my work through other people's eyes, because like I just want to know what they get from it. Like, what do you see?
Yeah.
So it's just really nice. It's really nice to hear that from somebody. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I think that's the beauty of art. I mean, I've said this many times, that no matter who makes it, or if you like it or if you don't, it makes sense to somebody. And people get different feelings from different pieces. And this is why I love art so much, is because we get, and then it's not every piece, like, some pieces are just for, you want it to make something cool, or, something look nice. It doesn't really have that deeper meaning. But the ones that do, you get to see a little insight. Well, I would say, especially with a lot of your art, you get to see an insight into, I guess, your mind frame when you were creating it. Like the piece we talked about earlier about, ripping your face through, and you can see, like, the galaxy behind it. You get to see a little bit of that artist, a little bit of, the emotion or the mental state that the artist was in when they were making it. And you have some very, very beautiful pieces that elicit a certain emotion, which is great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm like looking. I'm actually looking at a couple right now, because you inspired me to look at my own. Because like sometimes you forget what you do.
Yeah.
It's so funny. One piece that like actually was like that came out of just like a self. Like I cut off my hair. Like you see I have a little patch here. I have hair, but this particular piece I had shaved my head completely bald, because I had ruined my hair. Like I just kept changing the colors. And I was really having a self-esteem moment. Like everybody was like, "Oh, I miss your hair this color," and I was just like, "What is, you don't like me bald?" So I literally had a moment in the mirror where I was just like, "You look good." So like I took a picture, and after that, like I had a breakdown, and I was like, but I don't feel beautiful. But then I took that picture that I took in the mirror before I had the breakdown, and then I used that as a reference. And it's what is the name of the piece? Self-esteem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was gonna guess. I'm looking right at it. Yeah.
Yep. That one, I was like, yeah, you're bald, but you got a lot going on up there. It's still, you're still beautiful. Like it's still okay. And this is like one of the first times I really showed emotion in one of my pieces, where it was like, this was not built out of happiness. This was built out of, I hate being bald, but I'm not gonna show the world that. So yeah. So yeah, I wanted to share that really quick, because I thought,
that's great.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool moment. So yeah.
Okay, so you've got a couple pieces on, where is this? Which NFT platform do you use?
Oh, Foundation. I use
Foundation. That's what it is. So you got a couple pieces on Foundation. Are you planning on releasing any more NFTs, or is it just something that, I don't know, you're kind of dabbling into right now?
So this space is very interesting right now. I am really taking my time with learning right now. I'm jumped into a couple of group chats, getting to know quite a few other, artists of all kinds and
Hmm.
asking questions, jumping into Twitter spaces, getting my name out there, getting people to know who I am. Because obviously it takes money to make money. Like you still have to
Yeah.
pay to put your pieces up. So,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm obviously making the smart money moves for myself.
Hmm.
So NFTs right now are something that I'm dabbling in.
Okay.
I do plan on dropping more NFTs. That's why I'm really trying to learn other skill types, jumping into like 3D animation,
Yeah.
3D modeling, all that stuff, so I can really make my art how I really see it and
Okay.
make it a little bit more interesting, and a little bit more tangible. Even though I don't know how that it makes sense in my head, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, yeah.
Like, a
Yeah. I
little bit
know
more
what you mean.
visual. But yeah, NFTs are definitely a very fun and interesting and very intricate
Yes.
area that I jumped into very fast, and I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to,
Yeah.
and I'm learning.
Yeah.
The pieces that I dropped on there do actually mean like a lot to me, especially the second piece, Your Highness. That one is the
Yeah.
piece with my mother and my brother. That piece meant a lot to me, and that was one of the pieces that I was able to animate, which is why it was a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit more expensive, but it
Yeah.
a lot that went into that piece, so that's why it's at that price. But that's something that I'm also learning, like how to price your pieces, how to meet collectors, how to meet
Yeah.
different artists, how to work in this field. Because I don't know that I would be a full-time NFT artist. Like I love being like a classic digital artist like
Hmm.
that. There's so much life in that. There's so much still be able to go into galleries and have a physical painting, not like something that's digital. Like
Yeah.
that's the interpersonalness I'm saying is like coming out of the
Yeah.
world a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hmm.
But it's a new age of art, and
Yeah.
it's a new age of a bunch of different things. So I was like, you know
Hmm.
what? Let's try it. So right now I'm
Yeah.
dabbling in it. But
All
yes,
right.
you can definitely see more things coming from T-Willzz TV.
Hmm.
I'm actually working on a collection this time instead of like
Okay.
a one piece. I feel like this will give a little more people an opportunity to have their hands on my work
Okay.
in the middle world, a little bit more affordable, but still entirely me. And like I
Yeah.
want my work to be something that speaks for itself, and it does.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
NFTs,
Yeah. All right.
fun.
And that's a smart approach too, because I feel like a lot of people kind of jumped into it and
Right.
then like, oh, well, what is this? This isn't. No, wait a minute. You don't know what you're doing. That's the thing. You got to. Yeah, that I think that's great. Yeah, you got to study up on it. You meet the
But
right
I studied
people.
enough. I studied
Yeah.
enough. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know, I knew somewhat of what I was going into. Like I
Yeah.
had to be able to put something up.
Yeah.
But like I'm still learning, and I think
Hmm.
that it's important for every artist when you're
Yes.
dabbling in a new area for you
Hmm.
to learn. I do want to let, like, for any future collectors or anybody who's looking at stuff like this, like I am going to be in the NFT space for a while. Like I'm
There
not
we go.
gonna just I'm just not just putting my toes in there and coming out. I'm like, no, there's more coming from me. I'm just
Hmm.
taking my time to learn and understand so I can actually respect the space, respect
Hmm.
other artists, respect the entire meta world. Like there's a lot that goes into this, and I just want to
Yeah.
be able to make sure that I'm doing the right things
Yeah.
and and going about NFTs in the right way, because there's a system to all of this. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
trying to
You're right.
learn.
Let's say 5 years from now. I think that's a good enough
Oof,
span of time.
oof,
Where do
geez.
you see yourself? Still in New York? Do you have any big plans when it comes to art? I know you say you're working on a new collection now, but
Mhm.
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Wow. If the world doesn't collapse from a zombie apocalypse
Yeah.
created from COVID,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm. And you know what? If,
that's
if it does start, it's coming to you or it's coming to me here.
what I'm saying. Like I'm fully prepared for that
Uh-huh.
to happen before I make it to 5 years from now.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, 5 years from now. Um, Honestly, I don't
Uh-huh.
know where I'm gonna
Yeah.
be in 5 years. Oh, the thing is, I love New York, but
Hmm.
I also love traveling. I love California. Like I plan to go to San Francisco for my birthday and just spend a
Yeah.
week out there and just
Oh
immerse
yeah.
myself in it. Because I've already been to LA, I've been to San Diego,
Okay.
I've been kind of everywhere in California, but I haven't been to San Francisco yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
was
Yeah.
actually supposed to go when COVID happened, and then
Oh, really?
I don't know where
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I don't know where I belong yet. I love New York, like I said, but I know that this is probably not it for me. I don't know if I should be in another country right now, or if I don't know where I belong right now. I know that 5 years from now, art obviously is going to be something that's still a part of me. I can't stop that now. Like, that's
Yeah.
just, I wouldn't want to. I think the reason why I don't know where I would be 5 years is because I know that there's a few people that wouldn't be here with me, and I don't know how to process that yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't thought about it. And I know this because I know that I have to manifest this for myself. I know that whatever I will be in 5 years, I will be successful. You
Mhm.
will know who T-Willzz
Oh yeah.
TV
Oh yeah.
is. I just don't know where I'll be.
Hmm.
But I just know that I will have made my mark,
Yeah.
or I will have started to, and lives will have been changed.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best of ways. And no matter where I end up, that's where I hope to be. That's the best, is
Yeah.
most
Oh,
honest
it's a
answer
great
I can
answer.
give you.
That is a great answer. No, that's yeah, I see great things for you in the future, and
So much.
getting to talk to you too, because all right, when I go into these interviews, you never know what you're gonna get, right? You don't know who you're gonna
Yeah.
talk to. But like I said, if I could get on, my hippie shit real quick, I do feel like, because there's a lot of fake stuff going on. A lot of people aren't who they say they are, or who they pretend
Right.
to be online, right? And I feel
Right.
like that's kind of easy to spot out. What I do feel like I can do is I could find who I think, because I did get a chance, I saw your YouTube videos, I see you on Twitter, I follow you on Instagram, and I think, okay, I want to talk to her because she seems like a real person, like an absolutely real
Try
person.
my best.
Yeah, and this interview went, as well as I expected.
Oh, I'm so
So yeah,
glad.
so thank you again. And you said you're 23. You are much wiser than the many 23-year-olds I know. That's for sure.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Tell my mother that, please.
Yeah, yeah. Tell your mom she did a good job, right?
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I think I definitely am a maximalist. I'm a loud, very bright person.
Mhm.
I'm all over the place, but like I try my best to keep it real, and I try my
Yeah.
best to be honest and be vulnerable. Like, I'm bright and happy, but that didn't always come from a very happy place. Me being open and honest about who I am,
Mhm.
allows other people to do that,
Yeah.
because that's the only way that you can live in a good life, is because it's so much easier to be honest than to lie.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't hide beside a facade. Like, I
Yeah.
am all over the place, and you saw that all over
Yeah.
this. So that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how my entire life is gonna be. And if
Yeah.
anybody can't accept that, if I'm too much for anybody, that's too bad. I'm not
Too
meant to
bad.
be around them, and that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That is great. That is great. Okay. Now, where can the people find
The people can find me. Oh, so many places.
you?
All of my handles everywhere are T-Willzz TV,
Mhm.
T-WILLZZ TV. Literally everything is at that.
Mhm.
My website is twillztv.com if you want to inquire about, commissions, or if you want to purchase merch, or if you want to purchase anything, everything is at twillztv.com. My NFT at name is T-Willzz TV on Foundation. Twitter, T-Willzz TV, Instagram, T-Willzz TV. That's me. So yeah,
All
that's where you
right.
can find me.
Beautiful. Before we go, I did have one last question. You have what are you planning to do with your YouTube channel? Are you planning anything? I feel
I'm
like
planning.
maybe there's something in the works, because the videos that you do have up are great. They're absolutely great. And I
Thank you.
feel like there's a lot to be done with your YouTube channel.
I'm having a lot of fun with that right now.
Yeah.
I like I said, there's a lot, like, I'm trying to learn with, like, animation
Yeah.
and 3D modeling, and video production and videography. I'm trying to There's so much that I'm interested in. There's
Yeah.
just not enough time. It is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you really do find that there's 24 hours in a day, and there's always something to fill that space up with.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm working on things. They're gonna take a while though, but that's
Mhm.
because I really pride myself on my body of work. I really like
Yeah.
want everything to make sense, and for everything to be good quality. I feel
Yeah.
like if you're gonna pay for it, if you're gonna invest your time, because time is money, and money is time. If
Mhm.
you're going to invest your time into me, I want to make sure it's good quality and it's worth your
Yeah.
time. So that's
Yeah.
why a lot of my stuff, a lot of the things that I'm working on, the new pieces that are coming out, that I'm coming out with, collections that I'm dropping, things that are happening in the
Yes.
T-Willzz TV universe. They're going to take some time, but they're going to be absolutely worth it when they come out.
Yeah. I could only imagine so. All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming here and spending time with me. And you ever want to do this again, you ever got something coming up, you let me know. We'll do another one. All right. It was a joy to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you. This is like the best experience ever. I got to do more of these. I love this.
Absolutely.
I never get to talk like this. Like, this is so awesome.
And it was, and you know what? That's what made this interview so easy. You know, I just talk. That's all right. I love it. Like, I've got 4 sisters, so being talking to women is no problem to me. So yeah, this was great.
7, 4.
I got 2 brothers.
Oh, you were the
4
girls
sisters,
won.
2 brothers. Yeah, they won. Yeah, they did. But in more ways than you would know. Absolutely.
That's so amazing.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. I really appreciate it.